Everyone, welcome to our April 4th board meeting. Please join us in the pledge. Councilman Lowe.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Supervisor Wareham.
Here.
Councilman McCarthy. Here. Councilwoman Noah. Here. Councilwoman Izzarello. Here. Councilman Lohman.
Here.
Okay, we'll begin this afternoon's board meeting. We have one site plan. Mr. Hans.
Good afternoon, Supervisor and members of the Town Board. Today, we have one site plan application for the board to consider, acting as the Board of Site Plan Review. This is called the Cosentino Commerce Shopping Center, and this is for a sewer project. We've spent a lot of time working with the Cosentinos, Suffolk County DPW, to sewer this entire area that's shown in red, with possible connections additionally to the Hampton Inn and to the Memorial Sloan Kettering site. The proposal is to take all of these buildings that are in the special groundwater protection area known as Cosentino Commerce Center. They will be constructing a sewer main pipe that will attach all of these sites, cross under the Sagticos Parkway, and connect into Sewer District 18 at the Hauppauge Industrial Park Sewer Treatment Plant. There will be a capacity of 86,000 gallons per day, and it's an estimated nitrogen reduction loading of 82%. We're recommending approval with two conditions that Mr. Cosentino has agreed to. Primarily that they obtain the required health department approvals, of course, in order to connect a sewer treatment pipe. The site plan is just merely showing where the connections will be, as well as the proposed pump station. Does the board have any questions?
Questions by the board? Mr. Hans, we would like to commend you and your department, as well as Environment Waterways, for the hard work on this project. It's a massive project that has great community benefits, so congratulations on a good job.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter.
We will be voting on the site plan at the end of the agenda.
Public hearing. You don't know?
Deputy Clerk, when you're ready.
Okay. We have a special event at Carnival at Smith Haven Mall from May 24th to May 28th, and the times are described on the agenda. Kings Park Festival Day, Saturday, June 17th, from 9 to 5, and the Elwood Comac VFW Memorial Day Parade on Monday, May 29th at 11:30. There are two public hearings today. Both hearings are regarding Chapter 322, which is zoning. The first is regarding corner clearance, and Jennifer Junks from the Town Attorney's Office is here to describe it.
Good afternoon, Supervisor and members of the Town Council. Your first hearing is about corner clearances, Section 322-16. These are modifications made to the current code. It's being broken up into two sections, A and B. A treats collector and arterial roads. Section B is brand new, and it addresses residential roads. So the requirements are outlined to control for obstruction heights to be at no higher than 2.5 feet. And that includes fences, shrubs, parked cars. The tree branch height is going to remain as it is now, which is limbs have to be cut to 8 feet. And then the straight line of sight changes from 75 to 50 feet for the collector and arterial roads. For residential corners, the same 2.5 feet for obstructions, same 8-foot height for tree branches, except the line of sight in residential corners is set at 30 feet. And these are all for safety purposes at corners for traffic. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, it's...
Questions by the board?
No.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to be heard on this public hearing? None being heard, I will move to close the hearing.
Second.
Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Izzarello?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareham?
Yes, thank you, Counselor.
And the second public hearing is regarding Also regarding Chapter 322 as it relates to special exception uses. And Allison Murray from the Planning Department is here to describe it.
Thank you very much, Supervisor, members of the board. My name is Allison Murray. I'm with the Planning Department. The proposed amendment that you have before you is an amendment to Chapter 322, and it's as it addresses assisted living facilities, nursing homes, and similar uses. The proposed amendment was born out of research that was done and the recommendations in the draft comprehensive plan. The amendment has two main sections. One is it modifies the definitions of a handful of terms in the definition section. The other is it modifies the table of uses. The modifications for the definitions were really done to create a consistency with the state's licensing and certification requirements and categories to make them more clearly differentiated terms. The second modification is as it applies to the table of uses. And what is recommended here is to create a separate line item for nursing homes, adult homes, and assisted living facilities. And the zoning categories or the areas where they would be permitted would be in all of the business districts as well as the WSI and LI zone, but would not be permitted in the residential zones. And they would remain permitted as a special exception in the business zones. So
Okay.
if there's
Any
any
questions
questions
by the
from the
board?
board.
Oh, thank you, Allison.
Okay.
I believe we have some people to be heard on this public hearing.
Joseph Bullhofer?
Be mindful, ladies and gentlemen, that the 3-minute rule is in effect, so when you hear the tone, you have 1 minute to conclude your comments. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for advancing this important proposed amendment to the zoning code and for recognizing the bucolic character of the Mills Pond Road corridor. I applaud your leadership. This amendment is consistent with the town's recommendation in the draft comprehensive plan that assisted living facilities should not be permitted in residential zones, but instead only in areas where the zoning specifically allows for those facilities. I've been an attorney since 1985. Since 1989 on Lake Avenue. Much of my practice has always included real estate law. I've been a licensed title insurance agent for over 25 years, and for about 20 years I've been the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals for the Village of Head of the Harbor. I have more than a passing familiarity with the laws of land use, their regulations and ordinances. I grew up in Smithtown. I know this town well, especially the northeast area, and I think I'm qualified to talk about this issue. I feel somewhat uncomfortable, though. For many years, I've been friendly with the owners of Bull Run Farm and with some of the applicants of the proposed assisted living facility. Out of respect for those relationships, 2 months ago, I decided I would not be in the forefront of public opposition on this issue. I told one of the applicants that, but I also told him that I thought the site was a bad location for an assisted living facility. Since December, I've been contacted by many people regarding this issue, and I soon realized I was not alone in my judgment. That position really was validated last month at the St. James Firehouse. I never saw anything like it. I was impressed by the sheer volume of the opposition, but I was also impressed by the speakers themselves. They were largely knowledgeable, articulate, and comprehensive in their opposition. After that night, I felt that the issue probably was over. However, I realized recently that some people intended to come today to speak in opposition to this proposed zoning change, and I can't be silent. Sometimes it takes a dramatically bad proposal to wake up a community and to wake up its government to the fact that there's a bad law in the books. This is one such case. A request to construct a building of this size with all the consequences that go with it is a de facto spot zone change. It's a huge step that should only be tried in a zone change itself, with all the scrutiny and the daylight that would accompany such an application. Your change to the code will ensure that an application like this will not be made again. I encourage you to join with Suffolk County, New York State, and the Peconic Land Trust to work to preserve this property and the Fairfield Fairgrounds as open space. There's money available to fairly compensate the property owners for this land. The county has already agreed to provide a significant amount for this purpose. The area contains the last rural corridor in the town, and this amendment helps to protect the unique character of the community for our children and grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Albino?
Good afternoon. I'm a senior citizen advocate and the director of Voices for Seniors. I know how important it is for our seniors to stay near their families. Approximately 60% of older adults will need some form of long-term care, and the demand for assisted living is expected to grow exponentially in the next decade as our baby boomers grow older. We at Voices for Seniors advocate for the least restrictive environment for senior citizens, which helps them thrive. It would be ideal for our elderly population to age in place at home, but unless they have access to great wealth, paying for round-the-clock care is almost impossible. A lot of older adults then get forced into nursing homes because there aren't enough choices for them. Nursing homes are sadly understaffed, and we saw how many died during the pandemic because of staffing issues and social isolation. I lived it firsthand with the deaths of my father and my grandmother. I work hard to ensure our senior community is protected, respected, and treated with dignity, and I can tell you they would prefer a middle ground solution. I'm their voice, and I'm here representing them today, and they want the ability to live independently and have the ability to have relationships and not be locked away in a rigid, depressing nursing home environment. In fact, the greatest fear that the seniors I talk with have is being put in a home. Many people complain about having to move off of Long Island, and the focus is usually on young or middle-aged families, but our seniors are often overlooked. No one thinks of the impending need to have our seniors stay here. They're our family too, and should be able to stay where they're raised, where they're near their families, which would keep them happy and lead to living longer lives. We're acting like a prison is going up in a residential area, but the only crime our seniors have committed is the crime of growing older, something that, God willing, we'll all be faced with at some point. It would have an imperceptible effect on the life of the community and would generate hundreds of thousands in taxes that could be used to lower property taxes or used for some other noble venture. Our seniors should not be forced to live in an industrial area away from their families like they're a burden to us. They built this beautiful community, and we owe it to them to treasure them and allow them to live close to their families. Thank you.
Jennifer Gallo? Jennifer Gallo?
I'm sorry, I agree with what the last statement, okay?
Karen Murphy?
Hello, everyone. My name is Corinne Murphy, and I am a homeowner, a landowner, a resident of Smithtown, and I'm also the mother of 4 children who have gone through the Smithtown schools, and thank you for hearing me today. One of my businesses is a elder care, home care business located in Smithtown, and many of our patients require companionship and home care services, elder care services, maintenance around the house, chores, helping them to move around the house and get them to the bathrooms, safely, be able to meal prep and things like that. Because we have no idea when they're going to need those services, that requires us to provide care to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is 138 hours a week. Times that by professional care, that's $25 to $30 an hour, which is about $5,000 and more per week. Unfortunately, I have to let them move on to another place, and they are very afraid of going to a nursing home or a hospital. They're deathly afraid, in fact. And when we see our patients go to a hospital or a nursing home, they lose time on their lives. It's just a fact. I'm telling to you straight up. They lose months, or if not years, every time they spend 1, 2, 3, or 4 days in a nursing home or a hospital, and then get sent back home. My fear is that I don't have enough options to move them over. And as a human being, it's my responsibility to tell them to go to an assisted living place, especially one in their area that they love, an area where their friends are, and they can continue the lives that they enjoy and keep their families close. I'm an advocate of supporting our seniors and families staying close and here and affordable on Long Island, and simply providing care at $5,000, $6,000 a week. Although it helps my business, of course, it is not the humane thing to do. We want our seniors to stay here. Thank you for hearing me today. If I may add, I hope that this is okay. I'd like to keep the public comment open so that I may ask my seniors who could not be here today to provide comment on what they'd like when they move on from our services.
Andrew Thomas?
Hi, thank you. I'd like to speak a little bit about zoning in this case, because I think that's actually what the issue is. I don't think anybody who's speaking against assisted living in this location is doing it out of a disinterest in the needs of seniors. I think everybody recognizes that assisted living, along with essentially every other function in the zoning code, needs a necessary home somewhere in the town. But this is about where is appropriate, right? When I first got into this case and started looking at how the zoning is done in Smithtown with this overlay district, this CF, it really struck me as quite a strange, well, an unusual way to do it, in part because there's so many institutional uses which literally technically could happen anywhere. You could have an airport on this site if the board approved it, right? So the problem with that is it makes it really difficult because a resident can't move into a neighborhood and know that something like this won't go in next door. They literally can't know that. It could go anywhere in the village or town as currently written. And also troubling, I mean, I don't think this developer should be doing this here, but I walked out of the meeting, I'm an architect, feeling for the developer, having gotten this far down the process and put in this much time and this much money to developing this thing, only to have it hopefully go nowhere, right? And so the better code is, I think, what you're starting to do here, which is to be more specific with the zoning code about what is appropriate in different zones. And so every step that you can do to the code to be for both residents and neighbors and potential developers to be more clear about what is and is not appropriate is really, really helpful. So I absolutely approve this law. I think there should be clarity and master planning about where it is appropriate in this community to have assisted living facilities. But on your last rural corridor, the sparsest zone, the R43, I think it's abundantly clear that this is not the site for that. Thank you.
Edward Mozar? I could be Edward? Perhaps. I can't understand the handwriting. Maple Avenue?
What's that?
Maple?
Maple Avenue.
Sorry.
This is an emotional issue for me. First, let me commend this town. This is by far one of the best towns in the country, and I've been around. I see the best leadership here. I've seen your supervisor at the veterans events. I noticed the veterans parking, special for the parking here, and I see what's going on in this town. By far the best. Came here 12 years ago, take care of my wife. 24/7, 7 days a week, I cared for my wife. Best part of my life. The best part of my life. Last 2 years, she didn't walk or talk. Still the best part of my life. I was fortunate to have the intelligence, the compassion, the strength to be able to do that. I took care of my parents in their home. I got live-in help. It only cost me something like $35, $45 a day for 2 people. There's means to take care of them in their home. I would say this town first would look into that, how they can help their seniors be in their home, how they can subsidize so these people can be in their home. Then the next place is, where is the best place? You take the best place for them to live, and that's where they should live. They should live within their community and have the ability in their community. From what I understand, it, the site over here where I was talking to Senior Citizen Advocate, he mentioned that it's inside the community. They should be the top. They should be kings in their community. Because the only thing that's going to save this nation from where it's going is the seniors. My father, he served under Federal MacArthur, orphan, okay? At the same time, CCCs fought in the war, okay? I made sure he was okay. My grandmother was okay. It means I would recommend also this town to look into how somehow they can subsidize these people to live in their home. And if they do have a senior citizen complex, I recommend you have transportation to what you treat them like kings, you'll save your nation. You treat them like the third-class citizen, you're going to lose your nation.
Tammy Topol, I'm not sure if you wrote proposed resolution, if that is about this public hearing or it's something else. Something else?
Public comment.
Got it, okay. Supervisor,
The next three.
Supervisor, that's all I have, unless somebody else. Oh. Okay. Lori?
My name is Lori Robity. I live at 124 Woodlawn Avenue, St. James. I just feel I'm coming on behalf of being close friends with the Eldricken family. They're a multi-generational family who gave their lives to serving the town of Smithtown. They worked for the town year after year, and all they want to do right now is sell their property and enjoy their retirement years. If there's so much opposition, and everyone's allowed to have opposition, if all these people would just come together, dig deep into their pockets, maybe not too deep if there's numerous people, buy the property. Let the Eldricken family move. And then if the town's people own the property, they can regulate what does or doesn't go on that property more efficiently than having this poor family sit day after day, month after month, waiting to leave and enjoy life before life is taken from them. Thank you.
And that's all I have. Is that, I couldn't tell, are you talking about the comprehensive plan? Is that what you wrote?
In reference to this, yes.
Oh, in reference to this. Okay, I apologize. Yes. That's Rebecca Cassay. And you, Andrew, you going to speak separately?
Sorry?
Andrew Thomas? Okay.
Hello, and thank you all for hearing this and being very attentive to this matter. It's something that the community has made very clear is important to them, but obviously is not a static matter. This is something that must be looked at closely. Just regarding the last comment, the Peconic Land Trust and the county are ready to sit and properly compensate the landowner for the land if they would like to. So they're by no means stuck there if this deal doesn't go through, and that's well known to everyone. There is a need to increase senior housing. That's statistically across the nation, absolutely. This is something that we need to look at. But in looking at the studies, placing senior homes in areas that are commercial or commercial adjacent, where seniors who still have the ability to walk, to leave that senior facility and go and get a coffee out, in a cafe, to go to the movies or a theater show using their own feet, not having to rely on vehicular mobility, is something that's been seen to extend the lives, to increase the happiness of their later years, because they do not feel tied to one place. I grew up on Mills Pond Road, and we never got trick-or-treaters. So that'll tell you about sort of how not walkable, not mobile that area is as far as those seniors being able to go and be independent in that way. And independence is something that drives in later in life, drives them to still feel that they have the agency over themselves. And so, if trick-or-treaters aren't walking up Mills Pond Road, it's not, the most accessible and connected to the rest of our beautiful communities, St. James and the rest of Smithtown. So zoning-wise, there are much more appropriate places. Commercial is struggling, and so looking at areas that have already been developed, where a beautiful center for our seniors can be built, they can be celebrated there and live their golden years to the best of their ability. Also, having grown up on Mills Pond Road, only in doing research in the last few weeks did I realize that Mills Pond National Historic District exists. That is something that was established in 1973. I grew up there and I didn't know, and I just see this as a huge missed opportunity for Smithtown to Smithtown that can be grabbed and celebrated in the comprehensive plan, in future planning, to say we have this amazing historic district. Let's look at what's still there, let's expand upon it, and let's make this another jewel in the crown of Smithtown, because there's such great potential in a Long Island that is these rural areas are being lost. So I would urge the board to consider celebrating this area.
Lorianne Cassay?
Can I speak? I didn't put in a request. Can I speak?
You can let,
But I Lorianne Cassay?
you can let him go first.
Okay. Yeah.
My name is Bob Soto. I live in Nesconset. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for letting me speak. I followed this with this property, and all along as I followed it, I remember in Nesconset where I live, not far from a piece of property where a 188 unit, 55 and over complex is being built. 188 units. Originally, they wanted somewhere near 300. We didn't want that.
Mr. Soto, excuse me. Are you speaking to this public hearing?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, the 188 units are not in this.
Well,
public
it's
hearing.
part of it.
It's not part of it.
Well, she just spoke about something that wasn't part.
The hearing is for.
Are you going to let me speak? I mean, come on.
The hearing
This never
is-
happened
the
before.
hearing, then you'll have another opportunity to speak. If you want to speak on another item, after the agenda's done, there'll be a public portion. Thank you.
Okay, I get it. I really get it. Wisconsin gets dumped on again.
Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to be heard on this public hearing?
There's Lorianne Cassay.
First, I want to thank all of you for hosting this meeting and giving us a chance, pro or con, to come out and speak our voice, our opinion. But most of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to acknowledge how important all of this is to our community. My daughter so well said, we've lived on Mills Pond Road. I raised 3 children there. It's a great area. It's something that we've always referred to as our paradise, our little piece of paradise. Unless you experience that area of St. James, you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. An assisted living facility has no business being built there, for so many reasons, but mostly because of the codes of the town. That's most important. We can all say what we want to, but the bottom line is we need to adhere to codes and zones and rules, because again, my children grew up knowing that there are rules in place for a reason, and when needed, we would stop and read the rules, which I feel is what we're doing now, just confirming that this is the right thing for the community. And again, I thank you for listening to us and being here today.
You want to, and it's about the public hearing? Okay.
Good afternoon, Peter Chiduchimo, 35 Willow Ridge Drive, Smithtown. I didn't expect to speak, but I was a physical therapist. I was a physical therapist for 28 years. I'm still a physical therapist. I'm retired. I did home care for 16 years. I went into the homes of the seniors that needed care, either after the hospital. It was transitional care, acute care, chronic care. I participated in the discharge planning as to whether they were going to stay in the home, go to assisted living, a nursing home, whatever the situation. I worked very closely with social workers. I counted, probably knocked on 15 or 16,000 doors doing home care. I participated in a lot of the modifications to get people to stay at home. There is nothing more cost efficient, nor will there ever be anything more cost efficient than keeping somebody in their home. No matter how many bathrooms you modify, handrails you put up, doors you widen, floors you change, ramps you put up, will never come close to what it costs to go into an assisted living facility. By the way, they're not free. They're whatever, $8,000 to $15,000 a month. Some of the people who spoke kind of made it sound like, it's benevolent. It's not. It's very expensive. My mother-in-law is 91. She lives with us. I have an aunt who's 92. She lives in Leisure Village. They have thrived staying in their homes. Just keep in mind that there's nothing more cost efficient than staying in the home. They want to be in their homes. And by the way, when you go into an assisted living facility, you basically still have to be independent. They're not going to give you any physical care unless you deteriorate to the point where you need physical care, and then the price goes up. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard in this public hearing? Sir, come on up.
I wasn't going to talk when my neighbor get kicking me. Thank you, Joe. Hi, everybody. My name's Michael Sassone. It's nice to put some faces with some names that I've been hearing over the years. I live on Mills Pond Road also. I actually bought my house from the Elderkins. I'm very good friends with RJ, the Elderkins family. I've known them over 30-something years. And it is heart-wrenching what's going on, what has been going on. But law is law, and what's right is right. The builder bought the property on contingency. So if this doesn't fly, he can just give RJ his property back, number one. Number two, I asked one of the people, what's plan B? And they said houses. So we're not talking, so he can put houses. We're talking about the Long Island Land Trust, Peconic Land Trust, and some other areas to venue for RJ, if he's willing to do that, So that's all I got to say. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. I'm for assisted living. My mother was in assisted living, and, the next stop of assisted living is the nursing home. So, it's inevitable if they make it that long. But there are the right places for it, and they're going up all over the place. There doesn't need to be one in rural, Mills Pond, Yale, St. James, which we're trying to preserve, And we visited their other assisted living at night, and it was disgusting. All the things they say it's not, it is. It's lit up like Shea Stadium. All you hear is this humming from the sewage treatment plant, and there's an environmental issue. He's got a lot of water there, a lot of standing water. That's, and we're all worried about Stony Brook Harbor. So, it's a bad idea. Thank you for letting me be heard.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a guy in the back. His name is, he got up to speak and he wasn't speaking about the public hearing.
Who's on the public hearing, Barbara?
I'm sorry, yeah, Jack, you have to hold it for a second. Trone?
First off, I just want to thank the board for taking this matter up. But there was a young lady here who said that Mill Pond is a paradise. Do our seniors not deserve a paradise?
Oh, stop it.
I mean, $500,000 increase to the town, no impact on garbage, no impact on traffic, no impact on schools, no impact on snow. Come on, this is crazy. So, yeah, I do too, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else wish to be heard on this public hearing? That being said, there was a request made. I will make a motion to the board to leave this public hearing open until Friday, the 7th of April at 5 o'clock.
Second. Can you leave the public comment open for 10 days, Supervisor?
That's for, it's gonna close on Friday, the 7th at 5 PM for any written comment that wants to be turned in. Deputy Clerk?
Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes. Thank you. All right, we will move on. Concludes public hearings.
Okay, on consent agenda controller, number 1 to 5, consent resolutions 1 to 10, plus the minutes of March 21st.
Is there anyone on the town board that wishes to remove resolutions from the consent agenda?
No, thank you.
Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
The town board to issue a secret negative determination for the reasons described in a memo from the Environmental Protection Director in the matter of the application for site plan approval by Peter Constantino for Constantino Commerce Center and the special exception petition 202301 submitted by 295 Osser Avenue LLC. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
Authorize the town clerk's office to advertise for bid 2329 for a used wheel loader with attachments. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
Authorize the town clerk's office to advertise for requests for proposals 2335 concession sales at Flynn Memorial Park and 2330 professional engineering services for the design of Long Beach Marina West. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
Award the following bids and authorize the purchase of the associated goods or services. Bid 2318, polyethylene bags to 40 on packaging. 2331 for arts and crafts supplies to S&S Worldwide Incorporated, Cascade School Supplies, and Lakeshore Learning Materials. And 2316 for animal shelter supplies to the Barn Pet Food and Supplies. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
The town board to approve the following. The dedication of the town of Smithtown San Remo Park and Playground in honor of the Lanieri family. Amendment to contract 1832 with H2M Architects and Engineers to expand the scope of work in connection with the preparation of a new comprehensive plan and associated GEIS. The rejection of all proposals received on March 9th in connection with RFP 2313, food and beverage concession sales at Flynn Memorial Park. Extension of bid 2251 for flat deck trailers with all island equipment. Extension of bid 2135 for sump maintenance service with Reliable Tree Services. And designate the Smithtown Messenger for the publication of notices, resolutions, and ordinance by the town clerk. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
Authorize the acceptance of the check donation in the amount of $1,000 from Best Friends Animal Society to the Animal Shelter, and a donation of up to $5,000 in value of plants from Comac Kings Park Charitable Fund for the purchase of native and pollinator plants for habitat restoration at the Smithtown Kings Park Bluff. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
Authorize the supervisor to execute the following resolutions on a form approved by the town attorney. A specialized service agreement with Howard and Carmen Dashkin to provide various dance classes for the Senior Citizen Center for a 1-year term. A contract between the County of Suffolk for the nutrition program for the elderly from January 1st through December 31st, 2023, not to exceed $265,380. The next three resolutions are for agreements with landscape structures. The first two are furnish and install playground surfacing at Whitman Hollow Park and Cy Donnelly Park, and furnish and install playground equipment and surfacing at Hoyt Farm. An agreement with National Water Cleaning Company to provide stormwater rehabilitation services. An agreement with DEA1 Concrete to remove and replace concrete curbs, sidewalks, and aprons. The next three resolutions are agreements with Cataldo Grasso Architects to provide professional architectural services for renovations of the Smithtown Landing Country Club, ADA renovations to existing restrooms at various town parks, and the construction of a new pavilion structure at Kings Park Memorial Park. Software service agreement with Active Network for program management software, a specialized service agreement with A Time for Kids and Flip Gymnastics and between the Recreation Department for the 2023 contact year. And the last is an agreement with CSG Forte Payments to provide payment processing and related products and services to the Recreation Department. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Approved settlement per the recommendation of the town attorney for the town of Islip for $4,723.25, and Donna Allen in the amount of $105,000. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarello?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
Authorize the following amendments to the Uniform Traffic Code and authorize the Traffic Department to install and maintain the necessary signs. Add a stop sign on Oak Avenue and a stop sign on Linwood Lane. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes.
And personnel items number 1 to 15 as described on the agenda. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes. That concludes resolutions. We will move to the site plan. Make a vote on the proposed site plan.
Okay, we have the minutes from approval from March 21st, and conditionally approve the site plan for Constantino Commerce Center for the construction of a new sewer system and pump station. The project was described at the beginning of the meeting by Peter Hines from our planning department. Councilman Lohman?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarella?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Supervisor Wareheim.
Yes. Conclude site plan. We will move to the public portion. I assume we have some people that want to speak. So before we start, public participation is subject to the rules of decorum, which you have on your speaker cards as per Town Code Section 76.7. Public portion is for town-related matters only. Any unsubstantiated, unverified, or material false information will be interrupted. The 3-minute rule will be in effect. When you hear the tone, you have 1 minute to conclude your statements. Please address the board. Thank you.
Rob Cooney?
How you doing? I just wanted to speak about Summer Nights in St. James. I've been a local business owner since '97 in St. James, and I also have performed in my band at Summer Nights. So the event is very successful. It's a family event, and starting at 5 p.m. is very important to keep the families coming. The younger kids would have to leave earlier, and we think that it's important to start at 5. Gives the food trucks time to be ready for the health department and get everything going. The closing of the road would happen at 5 p.m., which I believe the businesses are closed at that point. And I'm just putting in a request that the permits be taken care of and set up for 4 p.m. Setup and 5 p.m. Event time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vanessa Avergel?
We signed up in orders, 3 of us. Possible if I could go first.
Sure. Your name?
Roy Reynolds.
Yeah, my name's Roy Reynolds, and I actually live in Brookhaven Town, next door. I have a copy of a proposed resolution that was sent to you earlier this week, which was just handed out, and this is for your consideration. I'd like to spend some time going over it. The first 2 pages of the resolution give the reasons for the resolution, which I'll cover as time permits. Okay, a warning, there are many whereases. This is a resolution for an audit of the New York State 2022 general election. Whereas it is a recognized civil right in the United States for every citizen to have free and fair elections, whereas it is the affirmative duty of our election officials to comply with all federal and state laws governing administration and procedure of our elections, thereby guaranteeing our elections are accurate and free of distortion or manipulation. Whereas our constitutional system of representative government only works when the worth of honest ballots is not diluted by invalid ballots procured by corruption. And assuring accuracy can only be achieved through the operational integrity of our elections as defined by those laws governing the following 5 processes. Number 1, rigorous verification of voter identity. Number 2, proven ballot security, an intact chain of custody. Number 3, voting system certified to be secure from operational, physical, and cyber threats. Meets all FISMA and state operational and risk assessment requirements. Number 5, meets auditability and traceability requirements and operational policy. Okay, whereas an open source audit of the New York State 2020 general election was conducted by New York Citizens Audit has uncovered evidence of massive inaccuracies that violate both federal and state laws, including over 2.4 million New York State voter ID numbers attached to less than 1.4 million registrants, over 740,000 ineligible votes cast statewide, over 338,000 more votes were cast than voters who actually voted. About 1 million voters who registered on January 1st from 1900 to 2021. That's a holiday. You can't register on that date. 1.9 million registrations in the state voter rolls, missing from the county rolls. 625,000 more registrations for voting-age citizens in 6 counties alone. Over 195,000 votes cast in New York City that went missing. 95 state and federal legislative races impacted by 740,000 ineligible voters, abandoned ballots and ballot payment schemes, and certification of defined by law as provably fraudulent and illegal. Okay, my time's run out. Hopefully one of my colleagues will pick up the ball from here. Thank you.
Tammy Topol?
Vanessa's going to go now.
Okay. Vanessa Abergel.
My name is Vanessa Abergel. I live in Smithtown, 20 years. Whereas these findings trample accuracy requirements of voting systems for federal election, wherein the system shall achieve a target error rate of no more than 1 in 10 million ballot positions. For a voting system, accuracy is defined as the ability of the system to capture, record, store, consolidate, and report the specific selections and absence of selections made by the voter for each ballot position without error. Whereas it must be known factually and provably that the intent of the voters is accurately represented by election results before certification can be lawfully conducted. Certification of an election that varies from the law is an abridgment of the civil rights of the citizens. A fraud ab initio, United States versus Throckmorton, 98 U.S. 61, 1878. Whereas state and federal officials have met the efforts of New York Citizens Audit to seek redress for these egregious violations with indifference and inaction, including the Attorney General, Secretary of State, State Board of Elections, Inspector General, Federal Bureau of Investigations, state leadership of Democrat and Republican parties, county election officials, sheriffs, district attorneys, and others. Whereas none of these violations were addressed prior to the administration and certification of the 2022 general election, and there prevails a spirit of extreme contention and zero trust between people of differing political ideologies across New York, which is destructive to our families, our way of life, and the fabric of these United States. Therefore, we call upon our representatives, including town board members, county legislators, state legislators, federal legislators, law enforcement, federal and state prosecutors, and judges to provide relief to the people and the assurance of domestic tranquility through the fulfillment of each of the following firm requests. 1, a complete end-to-end audit. I will let my colleague finish. Thank you.
Tammy Topol?
Hi, my name is Tammy Topel, and I live in Northport. Come here often. My son goes to DDI right next door, so I'm just going to continue on what we are looking for. A complete end-to-end audit of the New York State 2022 general election for both paper and electronic records, including ballots, by a mutually agreed upon external third-party bonded auditing firm, possessed of adequate insurance and indemnification for the handling and protection of personal identifying information of the millions of New York citizens in order to determine the true error rate. This audit will provide a comprehensive report and analysis of all lapses and errors with explanation of cause where it can be determined. Number 2, the enactment of legislation defining a mutually agreed upon process by which an end-to-end audit would be triggered in any future elections. Number 3, the enactment of legislation defining a mutually agreed upon accuracy rate for the New York State voter and counter voter roll databases. Number 4, the enactment of legislation allowing for anonymous vote verification and tracking by the voter, including an automatic mechanisms to report and remedy errors during the canvass period following an election, regardless of the ballot source. Number 5, criminal election misconduct explicitly with regard to state election law and increase penalties. So we would criminalize this to reflect the societal and generational harms inflicted by such crimes. Now, this is where we ask for your help. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Smithtown, New York stands in support with the concerns and remedies presented here. We implore the Suffolk County and New York State Legislature, federal legislators, law enforcement, federal and state prosecutors, judges, and both state and county boards of elections to cooperate and fulfill these firm requests of the people. And then on the last page is an appendix of the resolution, research sources for the open source audit and the New York Citizens Audit, and relevant case law applicable to the end-to-end audit, if you should have any questions. So, Would you all like to sign now, or will we be waiting for this?
We will not be signing now, but we will turn your packet over to the town attorney's office.
Thank you very
For
much.
review. Thank you.
I'll sign it.
Kerry Mar Weiss.
Hello, everybody, supervisor and town council. I come again to, it's almost like deja vu. So again, I thank you for all the support that you've given through our since inceptions of the Civic of St. James. We've had a wonderful relationship calling our town, working hand in hand. With this type of relationship, our volunteerism is less stressful. But again, this event has now turned negative. All of you know I'm a very busy woman, a very busy business person, a very busy mom. I still have time to put back into the community. I, again, this year, have fallen short on deaf ears. I'm sorry, I just got notification yesterday that our permits are being held. For what? This event, if you do come, please come. See how all these people love to enjoy the lawn of St. James Elementary, including Lake Avenue. I don't understand, I can't comprehend for somebody, one business, to complain, because I look and say, I now know all the PTA events. I now know how many times there's parking on Lake Avenue from all those moms and dads. So let me refresh your memory. There's 285 days of the year that are school days. Then we go into PT events. There's over 125 events approximately. There's 23 classrooms, including there's a UPK3 program. I know this is relevant right now. However, all these events, all Lake Avenue gets filled up, including the train station, with moms and dads coming to have wonderful support to the kids in their classroom, or day trips, or however. How does our event for 1 hour, for one day, June, July, August, affect an economic loss for 1 hour? When you have pickup and drop off, pickup 9:30 to 10:30, drop off from 2:45 to 4:15. I can't fathom us constantly going on every year. This is literally so exhausting at the time. I'm asking, how about the town flip the script to the business owner? Say, hey, open your doors if it's such an economic loss. Look it, you're fighting a huge event, be a part of it. Because this is something that all of us are taking our time out to enjoy time with our families. So again, I'm asking the town to put forth our permits. Stop holding them, please put forth our permits. 4 o'clock setup time, 5 o'clock event time. Rob Cooney was one of our bands. We have another band. I know that they did email you. So again, I'm asking to put forth our permits. Thank you.
Lori Kaufman Robady.
Sorry. Time for the dog's pill. Thank you again for hearing me. Lori Kaufman Robady. I didn't say the Kaufman before, but that's my name. 124 Woodlawn Avenue, St. James. Thank you every year. You do push through the permits for all of the groups in St. James to put on events and bring a community together. I feel as though the community is slowly dissipating. Everybody's always fighting with each other. It's so nice to come to summer nights and see people you haven't seen before, haven't seen in years. I know personally, I saw moms that I hadn't seen since my boys were in elementary school. They're both just about done with college. The Civic Association stands for the Community Association of Greater St. James. We do things for our community. I don't, like Kerry said, I don't understand how 1 hour can affect a business so dramatically? And if so, let me see how it's affecting you. Maybe we can help. They are a steel dealership, meaning they distribute mowers, hedge clippers, all under that steel brand name. I know, my husband's a plumber. If you reach out to that name brand, they're going to give you products to give out to the community. Hats, shirts, pens, whatever. Use this opportunity to grow your business. Don't use it as a negative. It's free advertising. Advertising costs lots of money. Use it. We're there. All these people are coming to the town. Use it as a day to say, oh, look, a lawnmower company right here in town. Wonderful. I don't have to go to the big box stores. I have a question for the town. I'm the new treasurer of the Civic Association, and reconciling the books, I noticed that this permit check has already cleared. If the permit check is already cleared, I'm going to assume you accepted our application and permits should have been issued. So to learn that the permits are on hold and not having notification boggles my mind. I just know that families need to come to events early. Little ones fall asleep early. 4 o'clock setup, 5 o'clock starts the event. Like Kerry said, come down. It's a huge event. It really brings a sense of community to St. James. And I do feel it's something that every community in the country is slowly losing. I think something's happening and we have to bring back the togetherness. Thank you.
Tracy Balakin.
And public speaking makes me anxious, so bear with me because I'm sweating. Okay, we're here again to go over summer nights. I don't really have anything new to say about this matter because they have covered it and we've done this a few years in a row. But every year we have compromised. We tried starting later. We tried closing one side of the street and opening up that later for them. We've tried to come to agreement on friendly terms. We've tried asking them to be part of the event and how we can help things go smoother on the few hours of the year that this may affect them. This business is very successful and it's still standing. So clearly we do not harm them. We welcome them to compromise and work with us, be part of it, have fun with us as a neighborhood. There are new businesses on the street that want to be part of it as well. They are very interested. We have done all we can to tailor this event to the few dissenters. It's time for reciprocation. We have bent over backwards to do so. It's never good enough. It's still problems. They harass the vendors. They harass our workers, our volunteers from the community association, which I am a part of. Please let it be our turn to have reciprocation in the compromise. And that's really all that I have to say.
Bob Sutherland. You didn't fill out a speaker card, but I'll assume that you, yep.
So again, I live in Esconset, and I'm going to start where I left off before. We accepted a 188 unit, 55 and over complex. They wanted years and years ago over 300 of rentals on a 20-acre plot. Vecchio wouldn't let it happen. But as time went on, we need space for our seniors, 55 and over. And it's going to be a very, very good thing. It's set back, it looks nice, sewage treatment plant, it's a very good thing. So Nesconset, who's the orphan of Smithtown, not one person from Nesconset on our board, unfortunately.
I was born
but-
and raised in Wisconsin.
Excuse me?
I was born and raised in Wisconsin.
But
My
you-
parents moved in Wisconsin in 1938.
Right, you're gonna give me another 3-4 minutes, right? Okay. So that's great, and so is Tom. That's terrific. But today, we have issues in Nesconset where we are the entrance to Smithtown from Brookhaven, not where that strip joint was. They're not the entrance to Smithtown from another town. We have a blighted area that was the Bavarian Inn that was knocked down. The county owns that property. We were promised years ago that there would be a land swap. It's supposed to be going into the master plan. There would be a land swap. A land swap was done at the supposed entrance to Smithtown by the Bull. But we don't have a land swap in Nesconset for the old Bavarian Inn property. We have no advocate in Nesconset. I could go on with different issues that we have in Nesconset that are not being addressed. So I really wasn't going to speak today, but it bothered me that in Nessequag, or St. James, whatever it's called, they didn't want a assisted living facility, but they're probably going to get 300 apartments that are going to be over 55 because we need them. So, you know, you didn't want that, but you're probably going to get the over 55 because I don't think that that's restricted with this new zoning change. They could still put over 55 apartments on that property.
Apartments would be a zone change.
Okay, well, I'm glad we have an interaction. We're not supposed to, but that's nice. But we'll see. I guess they're going to try to penetrate that, or maybe you'll act quickly and not allow this to happen in Nessequag. But maybe in Nesconset, you could do the same thing for us in Nesconset and act quickly on things like this that come up. We're tired of being the orphan. Thank you.
I don't have any other cards.
No other speakers? I will move to close the meeting.
Second.
I know I spoke for a minute. You have to come up, you have to come up and talk. Thank you.
When I took care of my parents, I got a reverse annuity mortgage. And I worked with the town of Oyster Bay where they help renovate the house. And the town of Oyster Bay has a program where they will help renovate and do what's necessary to improve that home. And at the same time, they require that to be paid back after the senior citizens passed, reverse annuity mortgage. And I'm looking for the town possibly, you know, what I see here, the best solution that Mayor mentioned is let the parents, let the seniors be in their home, have the town work with that, help them get reverse annuity mortgages so they can stay in the home, supervise the work in their home, talk to the young lady who puts people in their home, get the prices a little down, let the people live in their homes, be a model for that. They don't want to live in a nursing home, they don't want to live near a duct, they want to live in their home. You have the ability and the leadership to do that. Reverse annuity mortgage, go in there and say, explain that to them when they're sick. Have the health care makers understand. You know, you can live in your home, the town supports this, we're going to help you do that. You get a reverse annuity mortgage, don't worry about it, it's only paid back after you leave. And the only people who are not going to be happy are the people who want to get money after they're gone.
Okay, I'm gonna close. Yes, ma'am. Have you filled out a speaker sheet?
No.
What is it about, please?
My comments regarding that resolution that I do not fully understand, but that brought the issues of massive fraud and distrust in the community.
Okay, so the folks that spoke about that, we're turning this over to the town attorney, so after the meeting's closed, you should certainly come up. I would speak to those folks, and then the town attorney will be here also.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for the third time, I'll move to close the meeting.
Second.
Supervisor Wareheim?
Yes.
Councilman McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noack?
Yes.
Councilwoman Inzarello?
Yes.
Councilman Lohman?
Yes.